Remember, people are panicking. We buy panic, not sell it. In the midst of yet another sea of red, there were a few flashes of green, stocks that managed to work their way higher, despite the gravitational pull of this tape. I mean, can you imagine what it takes to have a stock go up on a day like today? The most impressive, by far, Etsy, the online marketplace for handicrafts with a stock that surged nearly 15% thanks to a phenomenal quarter. Now, Etsy is one of those rare growth stocks that was down substantially from its highs before the whole viral meltdown got started. This is a long-time Kramer fave that's made people a lot of money. But in the second half of last year, the stock got slammed, in part because of growth went out of style, and in part because Etsy, let's say, was slowing to the, let's call it the law of large numbers. Last night, they reported results that felt much more reminiscent of the Etsy of old. The company earned 25 cents a share when Wall Street was only looking for 16 cents. Higher than expected sales, up 35%. Robust gross merchandise volume, up 32%. These are incredible numbers, people. Even better, management's full-year forecast was extremely bullish. No wonder the stock caught fire. So can it maintain its momentum? Let's take a closer look with Josh Silverman, the CEO of Etsy, to get a better read on the quarter and where his company's headed. Mr. Silverman of Brooklyn, welcome back to Van Money.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Great to see
All right,
you.
Josh, one of the things that struck me, I said, you know what, I bet you they do a good quarter. Because this may be the most, we like remote plays in this era of Corona.
Yeah.
You have the most remote business of all.
We do. A lot of people are worried about their supply chain, right? You've got factory workers all coming to the same place. You've got goods that are being shipped from place to place, which makes people nervous in this environment. But Etsy makers are already working from home. Right. So we feel very resilient.
Now, it looks like that you are doing some ad campaigns. Initially, you yourself were critical, but some ad campaigns that are so great for people who sell on Etsy.
Yeah, we're really excited about TV. I mean, the opportunity for Etsy is huge, and we've been investing for some time in channels like Google, which have been working well, but we're really excited about TV because it gives us the opportunity to tell the story of Etsy. And in the fourth quarter, we were really excited about the results, so you'll see us do more and more TV in 2020.
I was going to say, it's pretty self-fulfilling, right? I mean, it's a virtuous circle when you advertise in terms of bringing out people who really have creativity within them.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, so many people have shopped on Etsy and had a really great experience. They just don't know when to think of Etsy. So the TV campaigns are really designed for that shoulder tap to show you all this great merchandise and all these great opportunities when you could be and should be shopping on Etsy.
How many people do you think are coming back from initially the site before you was a little klutzy? Yeah. Now it's well organized, particularly around these very big seasonal events where we're sick and tired of going to the mall and buying things that everyone knows.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the ability to shop from an actual human and interact and get that handwritten note is a huge part of what's driving Etsy. We stand for something different. So in a world where everything is becoming more and more commoditized, Etsy is the place you go for something special and something different. And we think that means more today than it ever has.
How many of your customers are small businesses like my wife who couldn't figure out how to make her restaurant look different from everybody else? She said, I just got to go on Etsy to find things.
It's a great question. So, you know, we have over 40 million buyers just in the past 12 months on Etsy, and they run the gamut. And lots of them are, you know, everything from college students to grandparents to small businesses.
Right. Well, I also want to talk about, it was a year ago, you did something, you're a trailblazer, but you did something about the ecological impact, because I know that you yourself was concerned about packaging. But you want to do what's right for everybody, so it has packaging, but you wanted to mitigate it. And I think it's an acceptable, if not excellent, thing to do. I want you to tell people.
Yeah, well, we at Etsy have been concerned about the environmental impact of our business for a very long time. And so we've worked at how do we make powering our office happen with renewable energy, and then how do we make powering the servers happen with renewable energy. But when we looked at our carbon footprint as a business, the biggest part of that was shipping. So we said, well, we don't control shipping. It's not within our supply chain, but still we are accountable. And what can we do? So we decided to offset all of the carbon that happens from Etsy shipping, which means that we've protected large forests. We're doing things to subsidize the development in wind and solar to effectively take the carbon out of the atmosphere, that shipping, so that we net to zero. And you know what? As we've talked about that with our customers, the sales on Etsy have gone up. The conversion rate on Etsy goes up because sellers like the fact that we're sustainable. So that program actually pays for itself.
Okay, you used a word that I'm glad that I think everyone's going to use, just like you're a trailblazer in this. You said we have to be accountable. So I think there'll probably be some people at home who say, accountable to who? Accountable to who?
So we set some goals that said we want to be carbon neutral. And so we've published how much carbon we actually put into the atmosphere. But importantly, we hired a third party, PwC, to come and audit us. and they audit, and then they report. And so we've also now bought, carbon offsets, which also get audited to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do and that we actually are removing the carbon. So the point about signing up to hard targets, publishing them to the world, and then letting the world hold us accountable, we think is very important.
And then in terms of another thing that you do right that I always like to bring up, because when you get blow away numbers, I like to think, well, who's getting the big money? A disproportionate number of women who are successful through Etsy.
Absolutely. 87% of sellers on Etsy are women. And, we think Etsy is the easiest path to entrepreneurship for anyone. With 20 cents and creative energy, you can start a shop on Etsy, and you can run it from your living room and sell to the entire world.
One of my favorite CEOs is Shantanu Narayan from Adobe.
Yeah.
He always says the reason why he likes what he does is because everybody has a little creativity in them, and the web has allowed them to bring it out. How many of these people do you think would be able to have their creativity produce actual results if it weren't for Etsy?
About 90% of our sellers say that we were the first place that they went and sold. So we are the on-ramp to
Before, was it a hobby? What was it?
It's just hard. If you're going to open a brick and mortar store, you've got to pay for rent, you've got to pay for merchandise. It's difficult. And with Etsy, all you need to do is make a few samples of your product, spend 20 cents a listing, put it up for sale on Etsy, and then allow the proceeds from that sale to fund the next sale to fund the next.
That's right. And I'm so glad you mentioned about the letters. I know that you're back and forth with the actual manufacturer.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. It's like probably was 100 years ago.
Our mission is keeping commerce human. And in a world where people feel more and more distant from manufacturing, the idea that you buy from the person who actually makes it and you form a relationship with that person, which, by the way, has real value because she can customize the product for you.
Absolutely.
I love that, but can you do it in short sleeve instead of long sleeve? Or can you do it in silver instead of gold? Can you put my initials on it?
Or people who aren't as thin as others.
Whatever works for you. Almost everything on Etsy. Over 63 million things for sale on Etsy, and almost every one of them can be customized or personalized for you.
That's why I love Etsy. What can I say? Love what you do. That's Josh Silverman, CEO of Etsy, with the blowout quarter, and you know why. And by the way, can we just say again, accountable to the earth. Mad Money's back in.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.